It's a great day in the studio today, and you're listening to the Talk That Talk weekly podcast, sponsored by the Celebrity Spotlight Live Talk Show. I'm your happy host, Modesty. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to start this week's podcast off with a big thank you. Summer, I would like to take this time to say thank you for finally making your debut on the East Coast. We've been anticipating and waiting for your arrival a long time, and you're finally here, so thank you. I was out of town a few weeks ago on business, and the temperature at that time was between 45 to 55 degrees, and the destination I was traveling to was boasting temperatures in the 70s and 80s, so my attire was too seasonal, and I kept saying to myself, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick. Because going from a cold climate to a hot climate, then back again to a cold climate can make you sick. But thank God everything worked out and I didn't get sick. But it's definitely time for some fun in the sun and some warm temperatures that we can count on that will not fluctuate from one day to the next, but will stay with us. Every week, I like to start the Talk That Talk podcast with a quote. And this week's quote says, encouragement is the oxygen of the soul. This quote is credited to none other than John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell is a pastor, a best-selling author, and a speaker who has written numerous books that focus on leadership. And let me tell you, his books are dynamic. I absolutely love this particular quote because it defines one of the reasons why the Talk That Talk podcast was created, and it is to inspire, to motivate, to inform, to encourage, and to empower. If this is your first time listening to us, the Talk That Talk podcast wants to say thank you. Here on the podcast, we focus on what I like to call the Fabulous Eight. Fame, faith, fun, family, food, future, finance, and forever, that focuses on relationships from singleness and dating to proposals and marriage. So in any given week, we will be talking about one or two of the 8 topics just mentioned. To all of our listeners, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your time and the time that you spend listening to the podcast. So I conduct shout outs and mentions every week just for you. To those of you born in the month of June, I want to wish you all a happy birthday. If you're celebrating your wedding anniversary this month as well, God bless you and happy anniversary to you. If you've recently become an entrepreneur, started a new business, job, or received a promotion, I want to send a big congratulations to you and wish you all of God's best for the days ahead and for your future. With all that being said, I have a magnificent story, to share with you today for the segment of the podcast called Now That's Amazing. A few weeks ago, Aisha Champs of Houston, who is a single mother of 5, posted graduation photos of herself and her children, and the photos went viral and started spreading like wildfire. The pictures were very inspirational and motivational, and here's why. Aisha Champs is very familiar with loss. At one point in her life, she lost her home, her husband, and then she lost her job. In one of her interviews, she said, while growing up, I really didn't have any stable guidance at that time. My mom was addicted to drugs, and my dad was deceased, and she was homeless. She lived with friends or whoever would take her in at that time. She said that she was contemplating suicide at one point, but her pastor, thank God, intervened and encouraged her to not only live, but to go back to school, obtain her GED, then press onward rather by attending law school so that she could be the lawyer she's always wanted to be. She thought to herself she was too old, and at the time she had 3 children and one was on the way, but she did it nevertheless, and her oldest son took charge. He would make sure the younger siblings would eat and bathe them while she was cooking, and she even included her children in her studies by using them as mock jurors for a mock courtroom case. Although raising 5 children and going to law school was very challenging and overwhelming at times, her faith in God, I repeat, her faith in God and determination enables her to cross the finish line. And last month in May, Aisha Champs graduated from the Thurgood Marshall School of Law at Texas Southern University. I love her last name, Champs, and it speaks for itself. She has earned the title of champ, and rightly so, as she has championed against all odds of her not being able to live her dreams with life's circumstances. And just in case someone was curious as to why her children were in her graduation photos, she said it was because they helped her as she was studying law, and in her eyes, they too were graduating. What an amazing story. Congratulations to Aisha Champs and to her children. Our topic for today is intriguing from my perspective, and it is this: social media. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? Our focus is on Facebook. Thus far, it's the #1 social media and networking platform in the world. Facebook has 2.2 billion active subscribers and has been in business for 14 years, although it feels like they've been around forever. YouTube is 13 years old and has 1,300,000,000 followers. Twitter is 12 years old and they have 330 million subscribers. Instagram is 8 years old and they have 800 million subscribers. To date now, I don't have any associates or friends to my knowledge that have a MySpace account, and believe it or not, when MySpace was first published, if you didn't have an account, you were made to feel like an outsider. MySpace is the oldest social media platform of them all. They are 15 years old, and they've lost quite a number of accounts since the introduction of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and other popular social media sites. But they're still in business, and if you still want to sign up with Facebook, you're free to do so. The topic, social media, is it a blessing or is it a curse, can't be answered the same for everyone, because it really depends upon an individual's own personal experience and intent with this social media platform. Facebook is like an open book from my perspective, where anyone you are following and who's following you is given the opportunity to share their thoughts, their opinions, their personal stories, important moments in their lives, pics of their families, their friends, and more, unless your account is restricted and won't allow them to do all of that. To some, Facebook is like a community. I view it as that way. I view it in that way as well. It's also used for business purposes by some people to acquire new contacts and to share one's services or business. What I like most about it when I signed up in the beginning is that it lived up to its mission as it relates to reconnecting and being able to reconcile family members and friends who have either lost touch or haven't been in contact with one another in a very long period of time. Facebook also reminds me of the famous Apollo Theater and Showtime at the Apollo. How so? Well, whenever an act is being booed by the crowd at Showtime at the Apollo, there's a character called the Sandman that comes on the stage, and in a very comical yet creative way, he removes the act from the stage. On Facebook, whenever someone is being disrespectful or having an issue with someone that's following them, Facebook gives you the power to pull the plug, so to speak, to be the Sandman, in other words, by blocking them or removing them from your page / your stage. I'm happy to announce that as of 2018, I have 0 blocks on my Facebook account. I'm thankful for each and every one of my Facebook friends. I signed up several years ago, actually, and from that time until now, I have reconnected with classmates that I was in junior high school and elementary school with. And it's funny because it's been so long since I've seen or talked to any of them. They recognized me faster than I recognized them. When I received a Facebook friend request from classmates of the past, I literally had to stare at some of the profile pics because I didn't recognize some of them. But when I did, it was oh happy day. I was so excited and thrilled to have reconnected with them from the past, and I still continue to do so at times. Facebook also serves as a 24-hour news source for its subscribers. Sometimes you find out faster on Facebook what's happening in the world in various industries and what's happening locally and internationally as well before you see it actually on the news or on the radio. It has turned out to be a blessing from my perspective, for me. Facebook also is used for graduation announcements, wedding engagement announcements, wedding pics, and death announcements have also been posted on Facebook as a means of information and notification. So Facebook does have many benefits, but of course there is a downside, as there is to everything in life. Things I never could have imagined, such as breakups, full-blown arguments, and negative discourses are posted on Facebook as well, to the point, unfortunately, that people have literally been harmed physically because of it. Not all of Facebook subscribers have right intentions, unfortunately, and motives in mind when they post, and there have been many reports of harmful, biased, racist content on Facebook as well. There have even been reports of suicides and live killings on Facebook Live and more, which is a major downside of Facebook. It gives the subscribers many liberties, and some feel too many liberties to use the platform, and some abuse it and misuse it, while others use it for good. In addition to what recently happened with the full disclosure of personal profile information of millions of their subscribers, and the situation that's taking place with the breach, it's presently being handled by the chairman and CEO Mark Zuckerberg. I like Facebook personally, and I'm not as active as I used to be due to my schedule, but it has been beneficial to me in more ways than one. Well, that's our time for this week's show. If you're listening and you would like to inquire about booking me as a host, a keynote speaker for a brunch, a luncheon, a women's enrichment, or a women's empowerment session, or a women's panel, feel free to call me at 646-515 4375, or shoot me a quick email at celebrityspotlightlive@gmail.com. I also conduct 15 and 30-minute promotional interviews for new business professionals, new entrepreneurs, entertainment professionals, authors, and ministers on another platform. For details and more information about that, visit www.csltalkshow.com. If you would like to advertise your product, your event, or business on the podcast, contact me at 646-515-4375 or email me at celebrityspotlightlive@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for listening. And remember, although it's good to be important, it's more important to be good. Have a magnificent week, everyone.